about finished already. Example 2 says to graph y equals the absolute value of x, which was the parent function, along with the given functions below, which are the kids. Find the domain and range of each function and identify the type of transformation that takes place. Again, we're going to graph y equals the absolute value of x along with these one at a time. So I'm going to actually graph it, each of them separately. We're going to graph first off y equals the absolute value of x along with, what's the first kid we're graphing? Minus 2. Let me do it in a different color. Y equals the absolute value of x minus 2, tagged on the end. Be careful about where you put that minus 2. We've already graphed this once, and you should be pretty good at graphing it by the end of the day. You don't even have to do this, because you already know 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. What was the domain of that? Does anybody remember? All real numbers. What was the range of that? All positives and 0. Good. So here we go, the first one. We've already seen what this looks like. Negative 3, 3, negative 2, 2, negative 1. And don't make a table every time, because you can keep in mind, you can remember what this graph's going to look like. Looks like this. Now the second one you might have to make a table for. Probably don't know what the second one's going to look like, but after a few problems, you'll learn how to graph this one without even doing a table. I'm going to use the exact numbers, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Again, notice this is an absolute value equation you're graphing. If it does not look like a V, you graphed it wrong. Okay? Plug in negative 3. Okay, take out the x and put negative 3. Be very careful here. What are we taking the absolute value of? Just the negative 3. What is the absolute value of negative 3? 3. So you have y equals 3 minus 2, which is 1. Do the same thing with negative 2. Take out the x, put in negative 2. So you have absolute value of negative 2 is 2, minus 2 is 0. We're going to do that with each of our x's. Plug in negative 1, absolute value of negative 1 is 1, minus 2 is negative 1. Plug in 0, absolute value of 0 is minus 2. You see a pattern? Negative 3, negative 4. Be careful about the patterns though, because of how this kind of comes down and then it goes back up. So let's make sure that we've got, do you think the next one's going to be negative 3? It's not. Because again, this thing comes down and it looks like it's going to follow a pattern, but then it jumps back up. Plug in 1, you get the absolute value of 1 is 1, minus 2 is negative 1. It doesn't follow the pattern. Tricked you. Plug in 2, the absolute value of 2 is 2, minus 2 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. Let's graph this. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, positive 1. Okay, your second point is negative 2, 0, so you go left 2 and go up 0. The third point, negative 1, negative 1. The next one is 0, negative 2. Then you've got 1, negative 1, 2, 0. Do you see what's happening? And now, once you get that, do we have our V shape? Yes, and once we have our V shape, you can go ahead and put some more points on there. You can see where it's going to go. Bless you. So now let's connect our dots. You see again, our parent function's in blue. Our child is in red. So, does the child look like the parent? Sure does. What's the only difference? It's not smaller. It's not. It's moved. It's moved. It's a translation. Thank you very much. We took our parent function and we moved it how far? 2 spots, right? This is your child. I'll put an arrow toward it. Is a translation down 2. That's how I want you to describe it. Whenever it says describe the transformation, that is a translation down 2. How can we tell by looking at that? Look at the actual equations. Y equals absolute value of x, y equals absolute value of x minus 2. A minus 2 tacked on the end is going to move it down 2. And this gets into what I enjoy. It gets into a lot of things to where you can look at something and you can tell what the graph's going to look like before you even start graphing. Okay, let's do some more. Let's see how different things transform in different ways. So what would y equals absolute value of x minus 5 do? It'd move it down 5 spots. What would absolute value of x plus 3 do? It'd move it up 3 spots. Does that make sense?